Hey guys, it's Mrs. Wilburn, and I'm here with your Lesson 19 podcast. Um, the Worlds of the North and South, sections 1 through 4. Okay, your guiding question is: how was life in the North different from life in the South? And I'm going to try to make this go away. Hold on one sec. There we go. So how are you guys? Oh my goodness, I've been thinking about you and missing you guys, and I know Mrs. Klein has too. All right. For our podcast, we're going to start with vocabulary. Okay. You have quite a few vocabulary words for this section. And some of these words I'm sure you have never heard of before. So please take a minute to go over them. Okay. Pause this, read your vocabulary words, read the definition. It'll help you to better understand the podcast and the information. Okay. So here we go. Eli Whitney. This is who we have here. This is Eli Whitney, and he was an amazing inventor. Okay, and one of the inventors we're going to be talking about in this lesson is the cotton gin. Here we go. Eli Whitney, a young man from Massachusetts, often heard the Georgia planters' complaints. Tobacco prices were low, and rice and indigo prices weren't much better. Although cotton grew well in the South, cleaning the seeds out of the cotton fibers was a big problem. A slave picking out seeds by hand could clean only a few pounds a day. So there was little profit in raising cotton when using cheap slave labor. As the planters talked, a solution to their problem began to take shape in Whitney's mind. While growing up in Massachusetts, Whitney had revealed a gift for invention. As a boy, he had invented a machine to manufacture nails more quickly than making them by hand. From nails, he had gone on to produce hat pins and men's canes. After graduating college in 1792, Whitney went to Georgia to work as a tutor. Instead of tutoring, however, he became intrigued by the problem of cotton cleaning, and he wrote, "Struck out a plan of a machine in my mind." Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, the result you will read was an invention that changed life in both the North and the South, but in very different ways. This probably did not surprise Whitney. As a Northerner living in the South, he may have already noticed many differences between the two areas of the country. As American citizens, Northerners and Southerners typically shared a fierce pride in their country and a faith in democracy, yet their outlooks and attitudes about many things were quite different. The two areas also differed in their economies, transportation systems, and societies. Between 1800 and 1850, these differences led to sharply conflicting views on many national issues, so much so that at times Northerners and Southerners seemed to be living in two separate worlds. And that's what we're going to be diving into. Okay, first we're going to talk about the geography of the North. Okay, from the rocky shores of Maine, okay, we have a rocky shore right here, to the gently rolling plains of Iowa, the North had a variety of climates and natural features. Northerners adapted to these geographical differences by creating different industries and ways of making a living. Okay, climate. All the northern states experienced four distinct seasons, from freezing winters to hot and humid summers. Okay, natural features of the North. Different areas of the North had distinctive natural features. The jagged New England coast, for example, had hundreds of bays and inlets that were perfect for the use of harbors, shipbuilding, fishing, and commerce. Remember, commerce is trade. They all flourished in this area, while towns such as Boston became busy seaports. Now, guys, if you just look along the coast, you can see like all these little like nooks and crannies. These all become the harbors and the inlets, okay, that this podcast is referring to. Okay, just inland from the sea lay a narrow, flat plain with a thin covering of rocky soil. Farming was not easy here. So many people turned to trade and crafts instead. Others moved west in search of better farmland. New England's hills offered barely enough land for a small farm, and they were covered with thick forests of spruce and fir. Across the great Appalachian Mountains lay the Central Plains. Okay, now this is more of the flat land. A large forested region drained by the Ohio and Mississippi rivers, which boasts some of the best agricultural soil in the world, from Ohio to Illinois. Settlers cleared the forest to make room for farms. One result of these changes was deforestation, or the clearing of forests. By 1850, Americans had cleared about 177,000 square miles of dense forests. Okay, so this is your vocabulary word, deforestation. Okay, really important. And they cleared this land to make room for farms. Okay, now let's talk about the geography of the South. The South extended from Maryland south to Florida, and from the Atlantic coast west to Louisiana and Texas. Climate and natural features encouraged Southerners to base their way of life on agriculture or farming. So you guys can see when looking at this map, okay, we've got like Maryland right in here, okay? So the South is considered from here down through Florida, and then from the Atlantic coast all the way over through Texas, okay? This is considered the South. All right. Climate. Compared to the North, the southern states enjoyed mild winters and long, hot, humid summers. Plentiful rainfall and long growing season made this a perfect place for raising warm weather crops that would have withered and died farther north. Along the coast, the plains were dotted with swamps and marshes that were ideal for growing rice and sugarcane, which thrived in warm, soggy soil. Sorry. And especially another important feature of the South was the broad, flat rivers, okay, as you can see in this picture right here. Okay, guys, with that, I'm going to pass this off to Mrs. Klein. And all right, I'll talk to you guys soon.
Hey guys, it's Mrs. Klein. I'm working from home today, and I'm here to let you know a little bit about the economy of the South. So the South's economy was based on agriculture. Many white Southerners were agrarians who favored a way of life based on farming. This was especially true of the rich plantation owners who did not have to do the hard work of growing crops themselves. Although many white Southerners worked their own small farms, plantation owners used slaves to grow such cash crops as tobacco, rice, sugarcane, and indigo. Cotton was a promising crop, but growers who experimented with it had a hard time making a profit. Until some way was found to clean the seeds of its fiber easily, cotton was of little value. In 1793, a young Yale graduate named Eli Whitney took a job tutoring children on a Georgia plantation. There he saw his first cotton boll. Observing the way cotton was cleaned by hand, Whitney had an idea. And he set to work. 6 months later, he had a working machine that would change agriculture in the South. The impact of the cotton gin was pretty extreme. Whitney's cotton engine, called the cotton gin for short, was a simple machine that used rotating combs to separate cotton fiber from its seeds. And within 10 years, cotton was the South's most important crop. Raising cotton in the same fields year after year soon wore out the soil and caused planters to push west in search of fresh, fertile soil. So there's this increased demand not only for land, but also for slaves. Although some believe that Whitney's invention would lighten the work of slaves, it made slavery more important to the South than ever. As cotton spread westward, slavery followed. So much so that between 1790 and 1850, the number of slaves in the South rose from 600,000 to more than 3 million. All right, now let's turn to the North. While the cotton gin made cotton the South's dominant crop, other types of machines were causing changes in the North. During the Industrial Revolution, people shifted from making things and doing work by hand to making things and doing work with machines. One of the people who helped bring the Industrial Revolution to the United States was Francis Cabot Lowell. In 1810, Lowell visited England, where he saw how textile mill owners were using machines to spin cotton into thread and weave the thread into cloth. Lowell memorized the design of British machines and built even better ones when he returned to Massachusetts. By 1815, he and his partners had built one of the first American textile factories along the Charles River outside Boston. To run his machinery, Lowell hired young girls and women who jumped at the chance to earn cash wages. Soon, textile mills were springing up along other northern rivers. While new inventions and manufacturing methods made goods cheaper and more plentiful, these innovations also shifted work from skilled craftspeople to less skilled laborers. There were some machines that made agriculture more efficient as well. The Industrial Revolution had effects on farming too. New machines increased the rate at which agricultural goods could be produced. Cyrus McCormick built a reaper that could cut much more grain than a single man using a scythe. Around the same time, John Deere invented the steel tip plow. This innovation drastically reduced the amount of labor needed to plow a field. Thanks to the Industrial Revolution, the northern economy grew rapidly after 1800. By 1860, the value of manufacturing in the North was significantly greater than in the South. Let's do a little bit of review, you guys. So in this lesson, you learned how the North and South developed differently from each other in the first half of the 1800s. The geography was one reason why Northerners and Southerners developed different ways of life. In the North, physical features such as harbors encouraged the growth of shipbuilding, fishing, and commerce. The land and climate supported the harvesting of timber and such crops as corn and wheat. In the South, the climate and land were ideal for warm weather crops like rice, cotton, and sugarcane. In the economy, in contrast to the variety of trades and businesses in the North, the South depended primarily on agriculture. Although only a minority of white Southerners owned slaves, much of the South's economy depended upon slave labor. In the North, the new inventions of the Industrial Revolution led to the development of mills and factories, which increased the number of people who went to work as wage earners. All right, you guys, stay healthy, stay safe, and we're out of here.